Um, um, there we go. There we go. Ah, it's so loud. Why? Yeah, that was loud. That was loud. Okay. What else is loud? Everything's loud. Why is everything so loud? Am I loud? Oh, hi. We're here. We're good. Hello. What's up? This is not the right team for today. This is not the correct team. Today, we fight with this team, even though that is not optimal. Hi, hello, family. My YouTube family and friends. And some people who I've never met before and some people who I have. Hello and welcome! If you have never been to one of my streams before, there is no structure. There is no plan. We just kind of bum around and we talk about random things. Treat it more like a podcast that happens to have visuals. Also, if you notice anything funny going on the technical side, like Mike doing funny things, or if like the graphics glitch out or something like that, let me know. Try and put it in the comments so that I can, not in the comments, in the chat so I can see it. I don't switch gears very easily. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I haven't logged in at all today either, so I have to do things like commissions. Oh, also, if you have not done this patch's Archon quest, all of the story segments, you may not want to watch this stream. Because I will be talking about it. We're going to be going over some things that have popped up over that quest. We're going to talk about it a lot. And I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who hasn't done it. So just, you know, be aware of that, I guess. This is not a spoiler-free stream. It is a leak-free stream. There's no leaks in here. If you leak things, I will put you on timeout. So please don't do that. But spoiler-free it is not. It is definitely not spoiler-free.
This is order.
Definitely not. And I have not done Yelan's quest yet. I started it. And then I was like, I don't want to do this right now because I have other things that need doing, like a video that I had to do like 4 times and ended up finishing at 3 in the morning because I got really fixated on a couple of things. So I haven't not finished it. I've only done like that first initial scene. So we might do that today. We might go through her thing, her quest. That seems like something we could do. Where are all my commissions? Why are they over here? Oh yeah, and before I start getting into questions, just to let you guys know a little bit about the format for questions, because I do like a lot of Q&A stuff on my streams, because I'm lore centric mostly. Please don't spam questions in chat. Oh, I guess I can't get him. Oh well. If you have a question, like I will see it so long as you tag me. Like if you at me in the chat, I will see it. So don't worry too much about that. And just try and keep the chat a little bit clean because it gets really hard for me to keep track of what questions I have and haven't answered sometimes if people are asking the same question over and over and over again. And it gets a little frustrating for everyone in chat too. So if we can just avoid that, that would be awesome. I do give priority to super chats, but super chats are not necessary for asking questions. So just to make that clear. And I think that's all of the housekeeping. Yes? Yes? Is it? Yeah?
Solidify.
I only went there because I saw a question in the chat and I wanted to like kind of dive into it because I am so disorganized right now. And I would like to talk about things in a little bit more of a structured way. So I think we'll start with a question and then I'll probably get really sidetracked and then end up talking about the quest like I should. So that's probably how we'll do this. After I beat this thing up. Yum, yum, yum. Poof. Yeah. What a good boy. I have some things about Yelan that we could talk about to start with. But I see Gimme Free Primo Gem says the Traveler says something about find the lost treasure when we were trapped in the Traveler's imagination. Yeah, the lost treasure I think was just a fantastic compass though, yeah? I don't think it was anything else. There are some curious things going on, and I will say that I have thought about doing. Oh, I hate this commission. I have thought about doing like a total quest recap here. I don't really want to play this one, so I'm just gonna zip through it. And I know some people really like the quest recaps, and some people don't. But this time, I'm not. I don't know. I don't feel like a quest recap is something I intend to do. And the reason is because I've been meaning to do a video on Yakshas for like, so long. I've been wanting to finally do a deep dive into Yaksha lore for a really long time, and I think I finally have everything I need in order to do that. So I kind of want to do that, and the Archon quest has two rather distinct, how do I say it, like storylines happening in parallel. One of them is a little bit more generic world building. I shouldn't call it generic. It's actually really interesting. It's not like, but you know, like general world building. Oops, I missed one. More general world building, and the other one is like really Yaksha and Liwa history specific. So I kind of want to forego doing a total quest recap and then do two videos instead. One doing like a deep dive into just Yakshas and their history, and then I want to do another video going over the additional world building things that we learned in this quest, specifically about the flow of time, because this quest actually answered a couple of things that tripped me up about Enkanomiya. I don't know how many of you have actually seen my Enkanomiya thing. I'm drinking tea. But I tried to put it into a timeline, right? And I had this estimate that meant that Enkanomiya had to be at least 4,000 years old, right? But I could only account for about 200 years worth of actual history based on human lifespans and generations and stuff. And I got really frustrated because, like, the math didn't work out based on what we knew about the math in the Abyss working from Child's thing. Because in his story, 1 day is 1 month, right? While I'm thinking about this, I'm just gonna do like random artifact runs. I hope you guys don't mind. Like Child talks about, well, not, he doesn't talk about it. In his character story, it's basically stated that he spent 3 months in the Abyss, but when he came back to Tevat, it was just 3 days, right? So that's a 1 to 30 ratio of days. 1 day in Tevat is 30 days in the Abyss, right? And that did not work for Enkanomiya. Like, I couldn't make that math work under any circumstances, and that was driving me kind of nuts. But the Chasm Archon quest basically solved that problem by just saying, hey, listen, time and space here gets kind of frozen, and everyone ends up perceiving the passage of time here differently, which means that it happens on an individual level instead. Which means that it means a few things, which kind of hurt my brain. But it means that the timeline that I had for Enkanomiya actually does work, that they have been gone from Tevat for more than 4,000 years, and that mainly 200 years-ish worth of history passed there. And both statements are true. Because in the Abyssal chaotic space, time has no meaning. Time and space has no meaning. It also explains a few things that happened with A's second story quest, right? Like where she where she like fought for 500 years in her little realm of consciousness space that exists in, again, like a space of chaos. But only like, I don't know, like an hour passed for the traveler. So it kind of explains that, and I'm pretty happy that I can just kind of use that as a sort of cop-out. But, guys, the more interesting thing here about this whole individualistic perception of time
Solidify.
is that it changes what happened in Khaenri'ah. So hear me out. Basically, we know that about 500 years ago, right? Khaenri'ah was destroyed, and it existed for at least 2,600 years prior to that. However, we have instances of like Khaenri'ah robot technology existing over 4,000 years ago.
When will I gather another test subject? Burst forth.
Which is weird, because if they hadn't even been established like 2,600 years ago, then how would they have their technology end up 4,000 years in the past, right? For Guizhong to be able to study it. And I've come to realize that Khaenri'ah might actually exist at no particular point in time, which means that it may have been destroyed 500 years ago, but because it's in some sort of chaotic space, it means that the rules of time for it probably don't apply in the same way. Meaning that Khaenri'ah could technically be at any point in time. And if you think about the portals that we saw, like the doorways and such that we saw in the chaotic space in the Archon quest, if you think about those, right? And how they could go to different points in time, if you start to liken those to like the Abyss portals, where Dainsleif was saying that they've created this crazy portal network, it could be that they've created little anchor points throughout space-time, and that they can literally travel back through any point, not just in space, but also in time, which is kind of ridiculous. And sets some interesting groundwork for some plot points later on, which kind of hurts my brain. Anyway, so that's fun. Yeah, so it could be that Khaenri'ah is from the future, but is also in the past. But, and exactly, it can also be why Kaya is alive right now. Because his father could have just gone to a different point in space-time. And when he's looking over the horizon back into their homeland, he might not be looking over the horizon. He might be looking through a portal. Right? Like, there's a lot of things that could change all of a sudden because of this one little thing. And it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And it would also explain why Khaenri'ah being the final chapter is actually labeled chapter unknown, right? It's not numbered. And I think that's because it doesn't actually exist in any linear fashion. Oh, it's gonna get weird, guys. It's gonna get real weird. Shit's gonna get real weird. This isn't even time travel, though, which is kind of cool. Because we're not actually traveling through time. It's saying that time exists as a whole. But it exists relative to space, too. But it would also explain why all the Archons had to be there, because maybe Tevat's space-time is stabilized, but because of where and how Khaenri'ah was, it was whatever they were trying to do actually was going to warp space-time and like destroy a lot of things. There's just a lot of new possibilities, I guess, was what I'm getting at, and it's kind of why I don't want to do a quest recap, because I feel like that needs to be looked at a little bit more on its own. I think it deserves like its own, a deep dive. Because maybe if we work on it really hard, we could compare it to like the God of Time stuff. And I think that'd be really cool to try and do. I think that would be super fun. I see a couple questions, so I'm gonna get off my individualistic rant here and answer some questions before I get off topic again, because that's totally gonna happen. That's totally gonna happen. Okay. Abab, have you seen The Interstellar and The Bookshelf? I have not. I don't have anything else to add. I don't even know what it is. Hey. I saw another one, but it didn't highlight for some reason. Oh, I see. I found it. I can do 2 things at once. I only have 2 pairs of eyes, but I can apparently look at 3 screens at once. That's cool. Crystal asked, in my last video, I said Fatui and Hilichurls turn into particles when we kill them because... Oh, this is about the Nobushis and the Kuragis? Yeah, no, listen, I don't have an explanation for them. I know it's a really lackluster answer, but like I don't have I don't have an answer. It's not a perfect theory. But actually let's talk about that theory for a minute. So that theory that I just put out a day or 2 ago, that one is one that even I'm not like completely convinced by. It's one of those things that I feel like there's definitely something to the idea, but I'm either missing too many pieces or I'm just not able to see the wider picture because I'm like too in the weeds for it, like not being able to see the forest for the trees, you know, that kind of thing. So the reason why I wanted to put that theory out the way I did, even though it wasn't fully baked, was actually because I had hit a roadblock with it. And I don't think it was anything to do with the information or the case that I was even trying to make. It was more to do with the fact that I personally just couldn't take the idea any further. So I figured if I shared that idea with as many people as possible, even if it was half-baked, and actually it's kind of better that it's half-baked, because it makes me sound a lot more wrong. And people really like to correct you when you're wrong. And that kind of gives you more of a reaction, you know? So I think it was good. I've gotten a lot of really, really good feedback on that video. And I don't mean like critique. I mean like quite literally people trying to take the theory and take some parts away and then put in parts that make more sense to them, or rephrase things, or pick a side. Like they've taken the general foundation that I put down, and they've done some really cool things with it. And one thing I might do later on is to take a few of those comments that have been made and make a video just kind of highlighting the different directions that the foundation that I laid could take. A couple of those comments that people have left actually do solve the Kuragi and the Nobushi problem. A lot of people really just kind of wrote it off as a gameplay mechanic, and that's absolutely fine because it's completely valid to recognize that Hilichurls... I see a super chat and I will get to it, but if I stop now, I will lose my train of thought and I'll never get in anywhere. It's totally valid to recognize that the game's actually kind of inconsistent about how it portrays dead enemies. For one, if you drown a treasure hoarder, they will dissolve. They will not disappear in a poof of smoke. That happens with a lot of things. Some Hilichurls you can actually see on the map after they die. If they die like as a like if they die in the story, right? Like for a quest or something like that, you might see their dead bodies on the ground. In the manga, they actually do die, and they have actual bodies that lay in pools of blood on the ground, so that is a thing. But in that same manga, you also have Crepus dissolving. So it's like really inconsistent about how it portrays what happens to the body after it dies and why. But I don't think that really changes the need to look at what choices are being made by MiHoYo around the portrayal of death and when. So I think that's something worth considering. But yeah, don't take that particular theory as a fully baked theory. It's definitely not. It's one that I really wanted to put out so that people could extend on it for me. 'Cause I just couldn't extend it anymore. So yeah. That didn't really answer your question, but I hope it helped a little bit. Hey, Haro Rook, thank you very much for the super chat, man. Glad to finally catch a stream. I know there isn't much to go on, but what do you think was behind Paimon's door? Thank you for the entertaining content. Man, thank you for watching, man. So Paimon's door, honestly, you could say anything. If I had to, like, take it seriously, I honestly think that there would be nothing behind Paimon's door. And what I mean by that is I think Paimon is the most afraid of being alone. And here's a little Paimon theory for you. Paimon is portrayed as a little kind of helpless child. But take a look at one thing here on screen right now. If you look at the characters I have in my active party, all of their eyes are open. Yeah? But then if you look over at Paimon in the upper left-hand corner, I can't point at it, sorry. Her eyes are closed. And her eyes are also closed in, like, the CD covers when they release the OSTs and stuff. And in addition to that, she's, I don't know how many of you know this. I don't know how many of you actually opened up your Paimon menu during that one instance in the Archon quest when Paimon was out of commission, right? She was just, like, really, really, really tired, right? Remember that? And she was sleeping. If you open the Paimon menu during that time, she does not appear in the Paimon menu. And there's a lot of there's a lot of emphasis in this game on the perception of memory and dreaming and that kind of thing. And part of me wonders if Teyvat in general isn't necessarily a simulation, but is a almost physical manifestation of Paimon's dreams. So the reason why she appears as a small child and that she wants to guide you through the world is because she's literally showing you her dreams. And, like, she's lonely and she wants friends. And so she's, like, remembering people and trying to make up. You know, like, she's doing all of these things. And I can't help but wonder if the Traveler is just someone who ended up getting sucked into her orbit somehow. And they exist outside of her dream. And that's why she wants to show them around. But that's a half-baked idea too that I'm working on. But I think that has a little bit of merit right now, just because I think one of Paimon's greatest fears is being alone. So I think if she opened the door, there would just be nothing there. So yeah, thank you for the super chat, and thank you for the question and the compliment. That's always nice. I do love. I want to say I love compliments, but I don't know if anyone else has this problem. I have a really hard time taking compliments. I always sound so insincere when I thank people. At least to me. And I'm always just so caught off guard. I'm like, oh, thanks. Anyway, there's that. Sips, any thoughts on Paimon's reactions to stuff during the quest? IMO, she was acting more sus than usual. Yeah, Paimon's perception of time is kind of skewed to a pretty large extent. I don't really know what to make of a lot of her reactions, but it's interesting that she got really exhausted just by being there. I'm wondering if Paimon is almost like a being that is How do I put this? Like the antithesis of what the Abyss should be. Like, she exists in any space that isn't the Abyss, and so being inside of the Abyss or inside of those chaotic spaces is just takes a real toll on her, and that if she stays there for too long, she might not actually survive it. I wonder about those sorts of things. A lot of it has to do with the fact that she's dressed in the same manner as like the statues of Seven and stuff. Like, a lot of her costume designs match the, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I wonder about that, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure. I know this one isn't mentioning me, but Lily Games is asking if I'm going to do a lore video on the Yaksha, and yes, I am. I've been wanting to do a deep dive on the Yaksha for like ever, and I just haven't gotten to it. There's so many things that have just taken precedence. Now I have a good excuse. I will be doing a very deep dive into Yakshas, complete with history and mythology lessons, so that'll be fun. I haven't done that in a while. I feel like I haven't gone into a lot of real world inspiration stuff in a while. It's been a considerable amount of time, I think. If I hold left alt, I can show the... I'm using a controller though. I don't think I can show the mouse cursor if I'm using a controller. Right? I'm pretty sure. I'm a little behind on questions for a minute, so give me a second to catch up, because I get really distracted. And guys, remind me to talk about Yelan again, because I have like a few speculative things. I'm not going to do a speculative analysis on Yelan because I have so many other things to do. I can't really justify spending the time on it right now, so I'm probably just going to share some little tidbits here. Mostly for the same reason that well, she might come up in my Hexen Circle video, we'll see. For reasons. I am still doing that one. I feel like that one's going to be important soon. Anyway. Hang on. Something like Narnia, yeah. The AMJ7, you think the future there's going to be a point where Zhongli is going to have to blow up his cover of being dead to protect Liyue from someone not even the Traveler can stop? It would be crazy. I think if that happened, it's going to happen a little bit more towards endgame. I think it's realistic, honestly. I think it's almost inevitable. But I also feel like if that situation happens, Zhongli won't make it out alive. I think he'll end up becoming Genshin's Himiko in a lot of ways. You know, like in the sense that she gave the, you know, Kiana the final lesson, and I won't spoil the rest of it, but I think he'll end up a bit like that if and when that happens. There's some interesting things. I know that at the end of the quest, if you go and you talk to Zhongli afterwards and he denies being in the chasm, he says something to the effect of, like, I am just a mortal now. I'm just a normal mortal person. But I think my friend Zara mentioned that the terminology he actually uses in Chinese is kind of comparable to the term mortal in English, but mortal implies mortality, that he'll die. But what he actually is saying is that he's a normal person who needs to adhere by normal rules, and not necessarily that he's, you know, a mortal being, if that makes sense. So I think I feel like he hasn't, like, completely, I don't want to say discarded his responsibilities, but I don't think he's going to be, you know, I don't think he's just gonna exit stage left of the plot. You know what I mean? I don't think that'll happen. I think he'll definitely be playing an interesting role on this little thing here is bugging me. I had to get rid of it. Had to get rid of it. Vernick, if they could not get tired or hungry in the underground, why was Paimon so tired? That's kind of what I was saying, is I think she's, think of it as like, think of it kind of like if Paimon is really warm and you put her in a really cold space, because she's really warm and needs to maintain that warmth in order to operate, she's going to be expending more energy in order to survive in a cold place, right? So Paimon, in that case, would do better in a place that is mostly warm all the time so that she can expend the least amount of energy. So places like Tevat is very warm. She would be expending very little energy. But places like the chaotic space would be very cold, which would mean that she has to expend a lot of energy to maintain her function. I think that's part of it. I also think it's got to do with the fact that she's not mortal. In any sense. Like, none of the characters who are there are mortal, except for Xiao. But even that one's kind of debatable, because we don't know if the Adepti are, like, actually immortal. As in, they will just continue to not age forever, or if they're just exceptionally long-lived. And we also don't know if they're considered elemental beings like gods, like, because gods you technically can't kill. They just have their energy get dispersed, you know? Kind of like Khaenri'ah turned to salt, and then she just kind of like gets dispersed. So we don't know if they're like that, or if they can actually die if you kill them. You know what I mean? So it's hard to say, because, like, Xiao says he found the bodies of the other Yaksha. Like, that he actually found their bodies. Which I feel like if they were... I feel like if they were elemental beings, then they probably wouldn't leave bodies behind. So it's hard to say, like, to what extent he's actually mortal. But anyway, that's a side note. But that's kind of where I'm at with Paimon in the Abyss. I don't think she's supposed to be there. Chroma Monolith, do you think that Mondstadt will get a map expansion? Yes, I think they'll get a few. Mondstadt's actually pretty small, and there's not a whole lot going on there. So I think it's very likely that they will get a map expansion. I'll be surprised if they don't, honestly. I think Liyue will get a few as well. I think Mondstadt, it's interesting. A lot of people are saying that Mondstadt is like the hub world. I kind of feel like Mondstadt and Liyue are both hubs in a lot of ways. I did not hit that second crit. Oh.
This is order.
Give me all of your things, mine.
The wrong test subject.
Useless.
Whee! Yeah, take him out with style. In other words, in midair. I think Liyue will get quite a few. I think Liyue will get at least 3 more map extensions. And I think Mondstadt will also get at least 3 more map extensions. I think in the end, both of them will end up being the largest regions in the game. I have a few reasons for thinking that, but the largest one is kind of a stupid reason, and that's because we start in Mondstadt, which is the land of wind and air, right? And then we go to Liyue, which is the earth. And if you think about it, you're basically saying, okay, well, you start with the earth and sky, and then everything else kind of falls within the earth, the dominion of the earth and sky, right? So that's kind of why I think these two will have the biggest regions in the end. I told you it was a stupid reason. I mean, I'm not pretending it's not a stupid reason. It's just what I think. I am allowed to think stupid thoughts. Gimme Freemo Gems. What do you think were the red ghosts that chased us while escaping the domain? Was it Xiao's karma? No, I actually, I don't know if you've seen my world structure theory. I still need to finish that. There's a part 5 that I completely forgot I never actually did. I wrote the outline for it and then never actually recorded or edited it, and I was only recently reminded of this. So that's a thing. So the red ghosts that were chasing us, in my world structure theory, I basically said that the abyss, what I think the abyss is the Sheol. The Sheol is basically like where all dead things go. It's the space underground where all the spirits of the dead are, basically. And I think that's more or less what all of those were. It's interesting that they were not like the other ghosts that we've seen. Most of the ghosts that we've seen are blue. Like the Sin Shades or the ghosts on Surumi Island, or even like Dusty Ming. I think she's blue. But then we also have ghosts from like Hu Tao Story Quest, and those ghosts are gold, which is, I'm sure there's something there. Color theory, which is something I never want to go into, but I'll probably have to do it eventually. But these were red, right? And when I think about red and black, the first character that pops into my head is the Sustainer of Heavenly Principles, and I made a whole theory about her cubes actually containing the souls of the dead. And how she takes them and she kind of imprisons them. And I just wonder if, like, sometimes she will take them, imprison them, and she puts them in the Sheol, basically. And they're trapped there forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. I don't think it was Xiao's karma, though. If you look by the end of the scene, his energy is usually like a greenish color laced with black. But in that scene, his energy actually turned like a pure green, like with no black laced in it. And the black is supposed to represent his karma. So that's why I don't think it was that. I really need crystal flies. I don't have that many. I need some. Yeah, Nessie, there are other places where Paimon doesn't appear in domains. Yeah, I mean, she doesn't appear at a lot of different places, but you can't open this menu in domains. Paimon, what are you doing all the way over there? You can't open the Paimon menu in domains, right? But Paimon can still talk to you in domains. Like when you go through story domains and stuff, she can pop up. She can talk to you from her little hidden place, wherever that happens to be. And so the point I wanted to make is that she actually just doesn't show up for the Paimon menu specifically when she's sleeping. Which I think is something. Oh, I got jumped way ahead. Hey, Thomas, thank you for the super chat. Everyone is talking about the chasm and Sumeru, but I just want an Aztec Pyro DPS and Natlan. Keep up the good work. Thank you. I think you'll get one. I do. If Natlan has nothing to do with Mesoamerican mythology and history, I don't know. I will do something really weird with the banana.
Order guide you.
I don't know what yet, but I'll do something really weird with the banana if that ends up not being true.
Moments of birth.
I'll think of something. It'll be weird. I'll like turn the banana into a vision or something. I don't know. Yeah. Hang on, I got jumped like way far ahead, so I'm like, I'm like 8 or 10 questions back. Oh, just give me a second. Oh my god. Okay, yeah. Okay, we're at Regrader. Okay, so Regrader, for those of you who don't know, Regrader is a Harbinger that's mentioned in Yelan's character story and in her story quest. So this isn't technically a spoiler for her story quest because it's in her character story too. So if you ever read her character story on the wiki or whatever, it's like right there. Regrader is actually a term that's like a reseller. It's like someone who buys goods when they are priced really low and then sells them when they're priced really high. As it turns out, this is the 9th Harbinger, and this Harbinger is actually one that we already knew about. It's Pantalone.
Let's get down to business.
Pantalone essentially runs like all economic matters. He runs all economic matters in Snezhnaya. He's responsible for sending, I think. Wait, which one was he responsible for? I get him and what's his face? Pulcinella. I get him and Pulcinella confused a lot. And they both have kind of similar roles, but he's basically like the money man, right? You could also kind of think of him as your resident debt collector. But I think he's Snezhnayan, honestly. I'll be surprised if he's not. I'm not really sure where he's from. We just don't know a whole lot about him is the problem. We know a few things that he's done, but like they're so minor. They're like so minor. Outside of this one incident that happened with Yelan that, like, I don't know. Yeah, it's just really hard to speculate on it. Isn't he from Liyue? I don't think he's from Liyue. I haven't seen anything that would support him being from Liyue. I mean, he could be. But I just don't think we know enough, honestly. So anyway, I just wanted to clear that up about Regrader actually being Pantalone, because he is. In some languages, they don't even call him the Regrader. They call him Pantalone, like, straight up. So it's not even, like, up for debate. Which is, I think, is kind of funny. Richard Wong, settle a debate. Is Mondstadt more inspired by Germany or France? Because different languages don't seem to carry much narrative weight. The answer is yes. So
Solidifies. I will have order.
Mondstadt is both France and Germany.
Witness my great
And several other European countries. The thing is MiHoYo's mixing a lot of stuff, right? But they're not, like, mixing modern France and modern Germany together. They're looking at... Don't do that to me. That's mean. I don't like being frozen. Mean. Mean. Stop freezing me. I guess I could, like, get out of the water. That would make sense. I could do that. Really? Really? Oh my god. I have completely lost my train of thought. Super chats and lots of questions and now I'm lost. YouTube, why do you jump me around? Stop! I'm so sorry. Hang on. Let me answer this question and then I gotta scroll back up and then I gotta do super... Okay, this is... Yeah. I'm so lost. If I miss a question, I'm so sorry, guys. Right, so Mondstadt, Germany versus France. It's honestly, it's both. What they're doing is it's also England. they're taking lots of different pieces of things that are somewhat related and they're stitching them together, right? So you have to think of every region as almost like a patchwork. there are some exceptions. Like, obviously, Inazuma is, like, strictly Japan, and there's almost no additional outside influence here. And Liwa is almost certainly China, but it does have, like, some additional outside influences, like, around bordering nations like Thailand and India and places like that. So it's almost like a little bit more like a region based. It's not like a specific border. And I think that's important to keep in mind too. It's interesting because I think Mondstadt is actually based pretty heavily on like Arthurian legends, but with German aesthetic and some French influence, among other things. So I would also say that there's quite a bit of Spain in there. I would say that Fontaine is almost going to be very similar to Mondstadt in that way, except I think Fontaine is going to be, let's say, I think Fontaine will be like more Victorian era. So a similar location geographically, but different time period, if that makes sense. So I can't really settle a debate because the answer is not one or the other. The answer is just yes. So sorry. Okay, I have to. There's 2 super chats, and then I gotta scroll back up. Anime Tommy, thank you very much for your super chat, man. Since it's been 2 years and only been 1 region, do you think there will be yearly releases for areas? Yes, actually, we started off with 2 regions. So we started off with Mondstadt, and honestly, Mondstadt was the only region that was available in the closed beta for Genshin. And then they added Liyue, I think, in CBD2, I think. So Liyue was available for the actual global release. So they gave us 2 regions to start with. And there's a lot of technical reasons why. There's a lot of technical reasons why we got Inazuma and just Inazuma, and how it came about and why it took so long and so many other things. But we did get that 1 year in, more or less, and then we got regular releases on Inazuma throughout the year, which I thought was kind of cool because it meant that people couldn't run an entire region. I think that is one benefit of time locking, even though time locking can really feel like it sucks a lot of the time. But I think Sumeru is coming, and I think it's coming very soon. We're just going to be getting it a little bit later in the summer.
What's one more? Solidify. Feel this ancient power.
But I think we will be getting 1 per year, more or less.
This is order.
More or less, more or less. I will say I feel like they probably weren't planning on giving us as many DLC areas as often as they have been. Which I'm pretty happy about the DLC areas. I think those add a lot. But yeah, 100% definitely yearly things. Definitely yearly things. Leo, I am sorry, I am not going to pronounce your last name because I will butcher it so much and you don't deserve that. But thank you for your super chat, man. Could the game take place in the Sustainer's cubes? That would be fascinating. That would be kind of weird if Paimon was like a mini Sustainer inside of the cube. That would be wild. I think that would kind of break my brain. It doesn't need any more damage. Please, it really doesn't need any more damage. It's so painful as it is. Let me hang on. I gotta scroll up. Back to where I was.
To just standing around.
Back to where I was. Okay. Seojin, in the cutscene where the crew are escaping from the chaotic space, there is a moment where the traveler has a headache and they sort of stare into the space below. What was that about? There's a lot of speculation on that one. Like a lot of speculation on that one. I'll give you my best guess. There's one other time in particular when the traveler has experienced that headache, and that was when facing Scaramouche. And it had nothing to do with Scaramouche specifically. It had to do with the fact that the whole room that he was in, well, sorry, my traveler is a he. that the Traveler was in was full of dead god gas. That sounds so gross when I say it out loud. Come closer, my precious. So the interesting thing about the headaches there is that the room was technically full of resentment, right? It was full of the resentment of this dead god, and that's why Scaramouche kept being like, yes, embrace the anger. Because the angrier you got, the more the dead god smoke stuff could kind of like influence you. And eventually the Traveler just kind of like passed out because they couldn't handle it, which is interesting because delusions do appear to have some pretty tight relationships with dead god remains, which means that delusions might actually be quite toxic for the Traveler. And I think that the connection with dead gods and dead things in general might be the reason why the red ghost things in the escape scene were causing the Traveler to have this little bit of a headache. Because they were likely all these dead things full of resentments and lost wishes and things like that, and maybe the Traveler just can't handle it. You know? We've seen a few instances where the Traveler can almost hear prayers and wishes, whether they're good or ill. We saw that especially in the 2.1 Archon quest, in a couple other places. So I think it would be interesting if that might have been part of it.
I will have order.
I think it's related to dead things. That's my TLDR. Too long, don't listen? Wait, where'd he go? Where'd he go? Hi! Hello, my dudes! Whee! Womp. Womp womp. Womp womp. Womp womp. Yeah. I think that's where I'm at with it. Varharan, what are your expectations for Sumeru from what we've seen so far? I've made a couple I've made one video on it, actually. I actually haven't changed my opinion too much on that video. I think most of what's in that video is more or less what I'm expecting. I do plan on doing another Sumeru speculations video soon. But I just have so many other things to do first that I probably won't get to that for a while. And my thoughts on it that aren't included in that first video that I made are a little complicated to try and recite from memory right now. So it's probably not something I should answer on stream. Margaret, am I going to do Yelan's story quest? Yes, and I am probably going to do it a little later tonight. Might do it on stream. We'll see. I haven't decided. Chroma Monolith, is Varka from Emonlocker clan? No idea. I mean, it's plausible. It's possible. It's just there's no way to know. Well, hello, Fenris. Welcome back. Hang on. It's skeeter season, which means the mosquitoes are out, and I have to close the door now because she learned how to open it. Are you in for the night? So rare. She's not usually voluntary about that. Voluntary. She doesn't usually volunteer to stay inside. Whoops. Sorry. I kicked a thing. Yeah, so there's no way to know where Varka's from. Like, at this point, there's no way to know. Emonlocker is like one of those mystery clans. I don't know that it's necessarily possible to tie him to Varka at this point without just making a lot of leaps that we can't support just because we don't have the info for it yet. It is possible, though. It's just... I couldn't even begin to try and formulate an argument for or against it. Matt Foreman, any chance we'll get more Susty lore soon, or fingers crossed see her again before the end? I think it's likely we'll see her in Sumeru, honestly. That sounds really ominous, but like I feel like Sumeru is gonna have a couple of things, and I guess this goes in. Here's the easy things that I will say about Sumeru. Susty lore, yes, I do think we'll see her again. Not like physically. I think we'll either see her cubes, or I think we'll see a flashback that involves her involved with another character. I do think that'll happen. But I also think Sumeru is going to give us at least one character death that's not a Harbinger. I don't think a Harbinger will die in Sumeru specifically. And if one does, I think it will be alongside at least one playable or important character. Those are two things that I'm pretty sure of. But we'll see. We'll see. It's just, at Sumeru, we will be halfway through the game. I don't know if anyone recognizes that, but we will actually literally be halfway through the regions of this game. And being at the halfway point in the game is usually when, if you had a pretty, like, easygoing, happy game thus far, halfway through is usually when some really big shit goes down. It's like really good timing, especially since we just destroyed Senora, right? So we have a one-up on the Fatui because they're down a member. It's the perfect time for us to, I don't want to say we're going to be cocky, but like, it's the perfect time for us to kind of get humbled and lose somebody. So that's something I'm pretty sure about. Corey Yuri, thanks for the super chat. Holy shit, man. Unrelated to Genshin, but what's your favorite Three Hopes design, and why is Felix wearing his dad's coat along with the implications of that? Love the content as always. Thanks. Listen, I'm heavily biased. I am heavily biased towards anything to do with Felix. So Felix is my favorite. Although I do like his actual time skip design more. I think Linhardt is my other favorite one so far. Design-wise. But honestly, most of the designs I'm just not a fan of. Most of them look quite a bit worse than their original designs, in my opinion. I don't feel most of them. As far as Glow Up goes, I mean, I don't even know. I don't think any of them are particularly great. I'm just hoping that the game is actually pretty good. I'm surprised they didn't give us a church faction, though. I was expecting to see Catherine and Shamir and all that kind of stuff, and I'm really surprised we didn't see them. Slime? Give me slime! I like slime. Slime. But yeah, thanks again for the super chat. Mean cuss. You got a lot of eyes. Mean kiss. It's like a we, but a me. Hot take. I feel like the Traveler's Headache is more about the possibility of light dark elements, and the dead god juice is a red herring. That's possible too. That is possible. I am wondering about additional elements of light and dark. I'm almost not convinced that they'll happen. And the reason is because elements in general have been said to be segments of light. So it'd be kind of weird to have a whole light element, but then also have all of these other elements when these other elements are implied to be a piece of the light element. You know what I mean? And then dark doesn't actually exist. Dark is just the absence of light. So when it comes to elements, I have a hard time trying to rationalize a light and dark element just for that particular reason. If they hadn't made the implications that that the elements in Genshin were based on different spectrums of light, then I would 100% think that that would be like the next big possibility. But I'm just not convinced just because of that. Just because it'd be weird to have an element that is the entirety of the whole of a bunch of other, like 7 other elements, you know? I could see it being like an ultimate attack, like say you could combine multiple characters together and maybe it would perform a light element attack, but I don't think like any one character would have a light element. Does that make sense? I don't know how else to articulate that thought. I don't know how else to articulate that thought. I want cherry stuff. I want cherry stuff. Give me cherries! Yum, 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 yum. Okay. I am... Thanks for the super chat, by the by. I'm sorry I made fun of your name. It was just really... It was cute. It was cute. It's like a wee. I need to go back to where I was. Because I am really behind and I don't want to miss any questions. And there were a bunch of them. Ah! Oh my god. Hang on. Let me just get to where I was and then I'll move things on the screen again. Oh my god, I am so far behind. Okay, I found it. I found where I was. I found where I was. Every time I get a super chat, it jumps me like way ahead. And that's not cool when I have to keep track of where I am. Wild Speaker, I like that in the little epilogue quest, Zhongli actually embraces his constellation meaning and becoming the Vaga Mundo, or the Wanderer of the World in Latin. Is that what it means? I don't remember. It's been so long. And my Latin is not very good. I rely on other people for Latin. I ask other people for Latin translations because my Latin is shit. My Latin is actual shit. Chirpa13. Are Adepti considered mortal in the same sense as human, though? Maybe that's all that was meant by Chinese Zhongli thing. So, it's... I am not qualified to answer this. Mostly because I don't quite understand the concept all that well. What I can tell you is that the term that's used for Adepti is Xian. I think that's how you say it. X-I-A-N in English letters. And the Xian, I'm gonna butcher that so hard, are basically like enlightened mortals or enlightened beasts in this case. Who kind of transcend the normal limitations, let's say. Now, Zhongli is considered the prime of the Adepti, which makes him, like, the leader of the Adepti. But the thing is Adepti are not unique to Liyue, because technically, Yae Miko is referred to in Chinese as a Xian. Right? Same as the Liyue Adepti, which would make her an Adepti. And since she has a fox form, and every Adepti basically so far has a beast form, I feel like the line between God and Adepti is really blurry, and I feel like the line between mortal and Adepti is kind of blurry. I feel like it might have to do more with, like, the level of cultivation, like the level of transcendence that you have. Whether or not you're considered a god or a mortal or an Adepti. Or an Adeptus is what I should say. I screw up the plural bit. But I'm really not qualified to, like, give a good answer on it. If you go on Twitter and you look up a person named Zara, she has a really good understanding of these sorts of Chinese concepts. And she writes a lot of really good Twitter threads on this kind of thing. And if you're ever wanting some really good intel on it, she's definitely the go-to person for that. I have some stuff to get in Me would, don't I? I want to get rid of that notification. It's a little hard for me to say. A little hard for me to say. Give me Freemo gems. Do I have a Discord? Normally I would say no, but the truth is, yes, I actually do. However, this is going to be a little bit complicated, okay? This is a little complicated. So, right now, I don't have any moderators. That applies to this chat in stream, and that applies to my Discord. And because I've been very slow in putting together my Discord stuff, I don't... Like, I haven't opened it to the public yet. Really, the people who are in there right now are people who are working on subtitles for videos. And a couple of assorted other individuals who are helping me out with certain things. I do intend to open it to a more public audience. But what I kind of need to do is, because I don't have any moderators besides me right now, and I can't just make anyone a moderator without kind of like getting to know them a bit first. What I'm gonna have to do is make the Discord private for a while, and I will be opening up YouTube memberships soon, and there will be a very low membership tier that will give you access to the Discord, and that's kind of going to be like the way that I ease into growing the Discord, because I want to be able to do it in a way where it's not absolute chaos, and where I can actually get to meet some individuals and slowly build out a small team of mods before I open it up to the public. And then for people who do have memberships after that, once the Discord goes more public, those people will be able to have access to some private Discord channels. So for right now, that's kind of where I'm at. So the short answer is yes. The long answer is it's complicated. Yeah, so that's something. I figured it had been long enough. I should just bite the bullet and actually make it. I'm also just being really slow about it because it just takes energy to set things up, like self roles and getting emojis set up and all of the correct channels and writing out rules and things like that. Like there's just like a lot to setting up a proper Discord server. So I am hoping to get that squared away soon enough anyway, though. Where was I going? I was going somewhere. There was something I was gonna do, and I have completely forgotten what it was. What was it? Oh, I remember. I'm good. I'm good. Okay. Alvar! Pretty random, but thoughts on Zhongli embracing his newfound freedom and retirement? Could we see Venti taking more responsibility to match? No. I don't think so. I think it's interesting. I for a while, I wondered if, Archons could even leave their territory, and I was really surprised to see Zhongli show up in Mondstadt, and I was surprised to see Venti show up in the Iridori Festival. It just means that they're not limited, you know? I think it would be interesting if both of them embraced both more responsibility and newfound freedom, but for different things. Like, I don't feel like either of them are going to continue to take responsibility for their countries the way that they're supposed to have been as Archons. I think that Zhongli really wants to almost embrace Venti's ideal of freedom, which I think is interesting. But Venti doesn't seem to have any interest in embracing responsibility on any level. But I also don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's kind of one of the messages of the game. I think Venti says it quite well when he says, what is freedom when it's asked of you by a god, right? Like he wants people to pursue true freedom, and the only way that he can do that is to like go hands off. The only way I could see him taking more responsibility is if he actually physically has to. Like there's a threat that specifically requires him and no one else. his reluctance to get involved in things has led to a lot of really questionable things that have gone on in Mondstadt's history. So it's not like his ideal of freedom always does good, you know? And I don't know that he's prepared to work with that. But I think Venti's gonna end up taking more responsibility for himself than for Mondstadt, if that makes sense. Venti is particularly suspicious. He's just like so sus in every way possible when it comes to the story. Like he has so many weird things that connect him to deeper levels of the plot that it's just odd. You know, it's just really weird. And I feel like by being an Archon, he's almost shirking his own responsibility outside of Mondstadt. And maybe he's going to be forced into playing a more important role that way. Other than that, I can't really say. I can't see him taking responsibility for Mondstadt as an Archon in the foreseeable future. And I think Zhongli, while he's embracing freedom, I feel like he would try to protect Liyue if it came under danger again and he was the only one who was able to stop it, but I don't think he would do it as their god. And I think that's kind of the important distinction. I think he would do it like as the Adepti Zhongli. Or as the mortal vision bearer Zhongli, even though he doesn't have a vision. It's just a fake thingy. So, I don't know. That's a tough question. It's a pretty tough question, yeah. Ash Greninja, I really love the video from Kazuha versus Scaramouche, but which characters are fitting for the Bennett Adventure Team by personality, not power? Fischl and Razor, for sure. Fischl and Razor, absolutely. I think just Fischl and Razor are perfect for him for right now. I think those two are his absolute best companions. I think he ends up having like a lot of... I feel like Fischl, Razor, and Bennett have a lot of things in common. In terms of their kind of lonely nature and their kind of outsider, how they feel like outsiders. They're also all around the same age, and they're all a little bit ostracized in their own way, and they're all kind of, you know, I feel like they'd all get along really well. And Fischl's already a part of the Adventurers Guild, so it's like, you know, you're halfway there. So, yeah, that's that. That's what I think. That's what I think for the Benny Boy. I think the Benny Boy would like him official. Oh, that one ran away. That one ran away. Go bye-bye. I just like to catch bugs. Woo! How impressive is it that these guys can just, like, catch bugs with their bare hands like that? I tried to catch butterflies today, and it took me, like, 3 minutes to catch this one that got trapped in my greenhouse. Because it kept flying away from me. I'm very impressed by people who can catch bugs that easily when they can flitter and flutter, like, just boom. Ever tried to catch a dragonfly? That is hard. Catching dragonflies is really hard. Sorry, I'm distracted. Cardboy 101, is there anyone of interest left over from the Kanjo Commission whose story we haven't had a chance to explore yet? Probably not. I mean, I would like to actually get some good lore for... Well, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. Well, I mean, I don't think anyone that's been mentioned anyway. Sorry, I'm thinking. No, no one springs to mind. I can't think of a name that's been mentioned. Like, I can't think of a name drop that isn't like an NPC. Or like, you know, like a completely unimportant NPC. I should specify that. There's a difference. There is a difference. A huge difference. No, I don't think so, no. Chroma Monolith, is God a species or a status? Good question. If you find out the answer to that, let me know. It's hard. It's hard. Like, Urabashi, for example, was supposed to be a god of the human realm, right? But the problem is that gods aren't supposed to be able to die. Like, not actually. And yet, we've got Urabashi's skeleton just kind of, like, chilling. You know? But then they say that, like, gods are supposed to be beings of elemental energy, but obviously Urabashi wasn't. He had, like, a physical, snaky, fleshy form, so what's the deal there? And Guizhong was the god of dust, so she must have turned to dust when she died, right? But I don't know if she had to go through, like, some sort of process to become dust god at some point. Like, if Zhongli dies, does he just turn into a big rock? Does, like, a mountain spring up from where he died, and then that's it? That's the whole thing? Like, I don't know. I don't get it. I'm so... The whole god thing is really abstract, and I have a theory about it, but it's, like, Honkai related. And a little hard to explain. But yeah. Oh, wow. Holy shit. Blue and Diamond, thanks. Thanks so much for your super chat. Jesus. I use an ad blocker so you don't get ad revenue from me when I watch your videos. Consider us even. Also, I thought Xiao would die there for a hot second during the latest Archon quest. Will Child be the first major death? Ooh. Ooh, interesting. Guys, never feel bad about using an ad blocker. Like, ads are annoying as hell. I mean, if you can, YouTube Red is actually pretty cool. And that does help us out in place of ad revenue. But I gotta say, like, full disclaimer, or full disclosure. Sorry, not disclaimer. I do enough of those. YouTube ad rev is not that high. Like, just to... without giving, like, really specific numbers, let me give you some context, right? For, like, the amount that you can earn from a YouTube video. At the size I am currently, so let's just say 70,000 subscribers for ease of numbers. So at about 70,000 subs, I could not live comfortably on the income that I can get from the amount of videos I produce and the amount of views that I produce right now. It's just, it would not be possible. In order for me to live comfortably where I am, and mind you, I live in a really rural area. I own my house, but my mortgage is like $450 a month. So that's giving you some context for, like, what I'm paying for quote unquote rent, right? It's not a lot. But in order for me to, like, actually make a living at this, I would have to be 3.5 times my current size. Okay. So if you guys watch a few of my videos and you have an ad blocker on, don't feel bad, because it's literally like a couple of pennies. Like, that's really what it evens out to. But I do appreciate it nonetheless. Like, every little bit does help, but, like, never feel bad about it. Ads are annoying as shit. I get it. I really do. And also, it's expensive as hell out there right now, so never feel bad for that. You guys do what you can when you can, and sometimes ads are just not good for your mental sanity, especially during election season if you're in the US, because holy shit. I turn on ad blockers during election season because I can't stand it. After a certain point, there's just so many campaign ads. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted again. Will Child be the first major death? I think what you're referring to is, a while back there was a leak that said that, in a version that's already been released, that Child was going to confront Scaramouche and that Child was going to die in the process. I'm not convinced that Child will die. I think that one was speculation, especially since the version patch that they said that was going to happen in, that's already passed. So I don't think that that's actually gonna happen at this point. And I've already kind of made my stance on the idea that I think a showdown between Kazuha is more likely than Scaramouche. And I actually think Scaramouche is in more likelihood of dying than Child is at this point. At this point in the game. I mean, that could change. I know that sounds weird for me because I'm supposed to be biased because I really like Scaramouche and I obviously want him to be playable, but like, realistically, that's the way it is. That's how I see it, you know? Yum, yum. Yeah. No. Give me that bug! Sorry. Oh, Z-Surf! Man, holy shit, thanks. Thanks so much for the super chat. As an indie dev who loves to give back, how much to sponsor a Genshin lore video? Sponsoring a video.
So dark.
If you actually want to like properly sponsor one, like get like a 1 minute slot in a video or something, just I have an email on my YouTube profile that you can just send me an email to. We can have that discussion off stream if you like. We can do that. Because I feel like that's gonna be a little more involved. I want to say like I have fixed rates, but I don't. It varies a little bit. Also varies depending on my interest in things. Like there are some things that I just won't do. Like I've been asked by Raid a couple of times for a sponsorship. Raid Shadow Legends. But it's just not a game that I'm like at all interested in, and I hate seeing ads for the game. So like being asked to sponsor it, I'm like, yeah, but also I kind of don't want to. So I don't really have a fixed rate for it. I kind of go with what we need to do. So we can have that conversation separately. Yep. But yeah, thanks for this super chat, man. I appreciate everything. I appreciate all your supports. Now I gotta scroll back for a million years. I gotta scroll back like a million years. Why? Okay, hang on. Okay, I think I know where I was. I think I know what it was. Okay. Chroma Monolith, what do you think the other 4 Archons will use as weapons? Dendro Archon's gonna be a catalyst for sure. I think the Cryo Archon will be a bow. And I think Hydro Archon will be a sword, which would leave, let's see, Claymore for I think Claymore for the Pyro Archon, which I think makes sense. So that's what I think. Pyro for Claymore. I think a sword for Hydro. I think honestly, I could go back and forth. I could go sword or bow for Cryo, and then catalyst for Dendro. I'm like 99% sure on that one. That's what I'm a-thinking. I'm scrolling for a million years. Scrolling for a million years.
How absurd.
Oh, Z-Serve, you had a question before your super chat. Okay. How do you view the structure of your channel moving forward as a lore head? Are there channels you look to for guidance for other games in terms of how you approach lore explainings? I don't know how interesting this is, but I can share that. So I don't actually look at any other channels for lore explainings. I actually look at explainer videos, especially news pieces. Anyone who tries to talk about current events or trying to explain things like scientific concepts, looking at I look at the styles of things like Veritasium and things like that. So it's really nothing to do with lore. Game Maker's Toolkit does some really amazing things with the way that they explain. Mark Brown is just pretty great in general, to be fair. But I won't say that I look at any particular lore channels for anything else. The only lore channels that I'm particularly familiar with are Legend of Zelda lore channels because I quite enjoy them. But I don't think that the way that the current channels that I watch, like Zeltic and Nintendo Black Crisis and Hyrule Gamer and stuff, and Ace Monkey, I don't think they work on the same style that I do, or the same principles, or they try to do the same kinds of things. And a lot of that's just to do with the fact that we're talking about some very different kinds of games, you know. So there's that. But as far as the channel going forward, I'd love to give you like an actual answer, but the truth is I don't have one. Some of you may know this. I have a full-time job. Lore YouTube is kind of like my side hobby sort of thing. It's my side hustle, I guess. We can call it that, my side hustle. It's my mistress. So I don't have any particular plans for it. I'm not trying particularly hard to grow the channel or really extend my reach or, you know, do all of the things that may or may not be expected of me to do. I don't know that I need to because it's not something I'm trying to do full time, right? I started doing lore videos because I wanted to get better at world building because I think, and this sounds a little conceited, I admit that, but I think I'm a pretty good writer when it comes to fiction. I have a long history of writing books. I've written 4 books, and I've written 3 comics. One comic was serialized for 3 volumes. So I have a bit of a pattern going. So I consider myself a pretty good writer, but I don't think that world building is particularly my strong point. And one thing I really like about Genshin is that it has such fantastic world building. So looking through the lore and trying to theorize and predict where things are going based on different inspirations and random things found in game, I thought would really help me get a better understanding and better foundation for building my own worlds. Because Genshin has a whole team of people behind it. Like a massive team of like thousands of, well, not thousands of people. Well, yeah, actually there might be about 1,000 people on the Genshin Impact team. And a lot of writers, right? And a lot of experts, and they've got a lot of resources and I don't. So learning how to cheat my way through that is really valuable. So that's basically why I've been doing this. And also it's just fun. But I don't know how long I'll continue doing it. I'll do it for the lifespan of Genshin. That's my plan, is to at least do it for the lifespan of Genshin. But beyond that, I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing. I'd like to finally go work on my own game, which has been basically in its demo stage for like, oh god, like 4 years now. Every time I try to work on that game, something happens in my life, and I just have to stop everything, and I can't work on it anymore. So I would like to actually do that. That would be good. But Star Rail does look interesting. I'm hoping that both the story and the gameplay are able to keep me interested for an extended period of time. And if that happens, I think I will consider doing some Star Rail lore videos, because Star Rail will likely continue long after Genshin is done, is my prediction. So that's my current plan for the channel. But just know that my motivations are a little bit different, I think, from most streamers, because I think most streamers and content creators start this with the intent of doing it full time. And I did not. Oh, hi, Levi. I need to, like, figure out how to get you to not open the door by yourself. Can you not open the door by yourself? Hi, Fluffy. Yes, hello. 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 Are you in for the night? Yeah. Are you a good fluffy boy? Oh my god, you have so much hair. Oh, I need to shave him, but I don't want to, because there'll be hair and everywhere for like a month. Ah. Anyway, that was a really long answer. I'm sorry. Oh, hey. Wow, I missed a super chat. I am so sorry. Resnullium. Thanks for the super chat, man. What are you doing? That is my foot. Now my toes are all wet. He's licking them. It's really uncomfortable. Have you ever had a dog lick your toes? This is so uncomfortable. Yeah. Sorry, sorry, Rez. Thanks for your super chat. Really a treat for those like me who don't have the brain cells to process the lore on our own. Love your voice too. Thank you. In high school, they just called me the chipmunk. They also called me Gur. Have any of you actually seen Invader Zim? Because most people like in high school and middle school used to call me Gur because of my voice. Yep. That bird is mine. But you know what? Thanks you for watching. Like, it's no fun making lore videos if no one's gonna watch them, you know? Because half the fun of doing lore is being able to share ideas, and I can't do that without someone to share them with. So, you know, thank you guys for just being here and watching. I mean, that's really all it's about. Very simple world. And Alvar, thank you for your super chat. Before I head out, let's spread some negativity. Who's your least favorite? What's your least favorite theory out there? Not Dendro Archon buys you. I know you despise that one. Oh god. Oh, it's my least favorite theory. What's the one that annoys me the most? I have two that annoy me the most right now. The first one is that you see Chi-Chi over here and how her burst is up? And every now and again, like, it'll pulse with, like, these spikes on the ends. There's a theory going around that those spikes are actually chess pieces. And I hate that theory with every fiber of my being. I really do. Like, no disrespect to the person who came up with it, but, like, I've seen that theory repeated so much that I can't. I just can't. I don't like it. It's not even a bad theory. I don't like it. I'm so sick of it. And I think the other theory that I can't stand is in Honkai there is a character called Aponia, and everyone keeps calling her the Welkin Moon. And if you say that to me on Twitter, just know that my finger for a brief moment hovered over the block button. just know that. That's how much I really hate that theory. If it ends up being true, I will do something else very strange with the banana. Yep. Anyway, those are my least favorite theories. Well, actually, Baizu as the Dendro Archon is the one that I hate most, obviously, but that one was eliminated. That they said I couldn't say that one, so yeah. I gotta, I gotta scroll back because I don't remember where I was. Shit, what am I doing? Oh my god. Oh boy. Guys, there's so many questions in here that like I don't think I can. I think I need to put a pause on questions just because there are so many to get through here. And they're not all easy yes or no answers.
Those memories.
Which is the problem.
So dark.
Okay, I found where I was. Oh my god, okay. Where else can I get crystal flies? I need more crystal flies. I want more crystal flies. Give me the buggies! I think they're in the chasm. I could go in the chasm, but I don't really want to. I want to stay here where the sun is shining. I was claustrophobic for a really long time. Not actually, I'm not actually claustrophobic. I used to lock myself in my own locker. It's the best place to hide. No one would ever find you in your own locker. Just sit in there with your phone, little comfy. Got yourself a little juice box. Yep, no one will pay attention. Just chilling in the locker. Anyway, sorry. Bob. Sorry. Yanfei mentioned space magic. If they decide a new element, do you think space-time could be it? But to be honest, I don't think they'll release new elements. Yeah, I'm not sure they'll release new elements either. I think, without saying anything about leaks, what I've seen about the Dendro reactions that are floating around in leaks, if anyone's interested in, that I will not be describing, but I'm just going to tell you my thoughts on them because it relates to this. Dendro seems to be an element that sort of bridges the gap between a lot of other elements. Like a lot of elements are like kind of one way, like one directional, right? Like you have amplifying reactions with pyro. You've got, you know, pyro hydro, it's vaporize, right? You've got pyro cryo, and it's melt, and then like there's only like one way reactions. But then we kind of get this feeling of like doing crazy multi reactions with like a Sukokuman team, where you take Sucrose and Xiangling and Fischl and Kokomi, and you put them all on the same team, and you kind of like swirl 3 elements together at the same time, and you kind of get this like crazy soup of elemental crazy reactionness, right? And Dendro seems to be like a way to do Sukokuman without actually running Sukokuman. But I think what that means, and the reason why I bring it up here, is that the only way I could see them introducing new elements beyond Dendro is if they wanted to do combination elements, like I mentioned earlier, by like, because, you know, elements are actually fragments of the light spectrum. If you combine them together, and perhaps you'd be able to get closer to light, and maybe if you combined like 3 elements together, you could create a light-based reaction, which would cause like, you know, ultimate damage, like a true damage that's not affected by resistances or defense or anything. I think that would have been really cool, but Dendro appears to do that job without actually having to introduce any additional elements. Like, there's so many interesting combinations that you can do with Dendro now, that I think, I don't know how they would ever go about incorporating any additional anything when it comes to that. I don't know how you do it. I don't think you could, really. So there's that. But Sakasho, do you think Bennett is from Natlin? I think it's very possible. He does look a lot like Iansen. I think that's very, very possible. But I don't know. There's not really anything else to go on beyond that one theory that suggests that Bennett is part of the Lava Walker, and the fact that he looks a bit like Iansen. But the thing is he doesn't have elf ears like Eon Sen, and Eon Sen might actually have more to do with Klee than Bennett, so it's kind of hard to say. I think it's possible. I do think Bennett will become a little bit more relevant in the plot, not the meta. He doesn't need any more meta relevance. Good lord. But I do think that will happen. I'm just not quite sure what form that'll take. I think the Lava Walker theory got disproven, but I don't remember the particulars of it. Oh. Yay! That's mine now. I got me some Mora. Like I need it! I have friggin' 17 million Mora and nothing to spend it on. What am I gonna do with that? Oh, hey, Richard Thatcher, thanks for the super chat. Thanks for all the great content. Your videos got me interested in the game again, and oh boy, has it been a ride. Hey, listen, if I can help anyone enjoy the game a little bit more, then I am doing my job. Ultimately, that's the goal. That is the goal. Games are meant to be fun, and I think speculating on the plot is another kind of fun that you can't get from gameplay. So, thanks, man. I'm so glad I can be of service. I want to jump in the hole. Whee! Oh, sorry. Let me thanks again. I think I'm here. Rhythm, my thoughts on the chaotic space. To me, it looks like we went straight into the ley lines. Is this even possible? I talked about it a little bit in the beginning of this stream, but I'm actually gonna. I'm actually thinking I'm not gonna make an Archon quest recap, for this particular one because I kind of want to do two different videos. I want to do a deep dive into Yakshas, and I want to do a deep dive into chaotic space and time in Genshin, based on what we learned in the quest. So I'm probably not gonna go into that too in depth here, and I hope you don't mind. But you will be getting like a completely dedicated video, so hopefully that'll make up for it. That is my plan. That is my current plan. We'll see how it goes. Sips, how many primos do I have saved up out of curiosity, and am I saving for anyone in specific? I have, as of right now, 28,000 primos, exactly enough to 100% guarantee any 5-star in the game. I'm actually waiting for Shinobu because I love her and I need a copy. And I'll say this, without providing any sort of context or spoilers or anything. I 100% think that when Dendro arrives, Shinobu will be meta in a lot of ways. But I will also say that I think she will be borderline Barbara levels until Dendro comes out. And either way, I don't care, because right now she looks like an alternative to Chi-Chi because she can run tenacity. And that's like my thing. I really like running tenacity builds. Why did I come over here? Why? I don't want to fight the snake. Why am I here? I'm just like wandering around and I ended up in front of the snake. Not what I meant to do, but okay. Stupid snake. Ashen Demon, which dead character, is that it? Do I want playable? I want the Yakshas. All of them. I want every Yaksha. I want all of the Yakshas and Saigyu. Those are all the ones that I want that are to be playable. I don't want to climb. I'm just gonna go here so I don't have to climb. Don't judge me. I'm lazy. But yeah, I definitely want all the Yakshas. I really want the Yakshas. I don't like that they're all dead. That makes me so sad. I'll never get to play as them. But I really like Saigyu. I really do. I think she would have been really cool to play. But she is quite dead. And I don't think we're going to get her. So, rip. Big rip.
Solidify.
Max Hernandez, do you think Child will, like, renounce his Fatui's persona, essentially killing himself off but keeping his character persona alive, hence him dying but keeping playable Tartaglia? No, I don't. Child is very loyal to the Tsaritsa. I think it would be very unlikely that he will give that up. I think it's more likely that he'd betray the Traveler again in favor of the Tsaritsa than I think he'll renounce his Fatui ways. 100%. But I also want to point out that I don't think that what the Fatui are doing is going to necessarily be bad. I don't. I think that their ultimate goal, while their means are probably pretty terrible, I think that their ultimate goal will probably be very much in line with a lot of the stuff that the Traveler actually wants to accomplish. So for whatever that's worth, there you go. I want to talk about Zoroastrianism at some point and its relationship to the Fatui. I think that's going to be a really interesting conversation to have, but again, I've had so many different videos that have just needed being made. I haven't been able to make that one, even though I really want to. I'll get to it eventually, she says unconvincingly. No one actually believes me when I say that. Fane, how likely is Scaramouche to meet with Raiden? If you asked me in 2.1, I would have said extremely. If you ask me now, I'm going to say probably not that likely. I think if he meets with Raiden, it's going to be if and when he becomes playable and as part of his own story quest. I don't know that it would happen otherwise. The reason I say that, though, is because A basically doesn't have any interest in him. She's basically said, listen, I made him and he's free to do whatever he wants, and that's someone else's problem. You know, like, she doesn't want to get involved. So I feel like the likelihood of her getting actively involved with anything to do with him is going to require, you know... Where am I going? Oh. Okay. It's going to require some additional plot devices that we don't have yet, and I don't know how likely that is. It's going to completely depend on whether or not he's playable, in my opinion, because I don't think that otherwise there'll be an opportunity for A to come in contact with him.
Why would anyone want?
I'm like 90% sure he'll be playable at this point. I am. But even then, I will leave room for doubt. I will leave room for doubt. Nothing is certain until it has already happened. And even then, do you trust your own memory? Who knows? Depends on who you are. Spooky! What was I doing? Oh, right. Hana, we know that Xiao's former master used his name Aladdis to control him. Do you think that's going to be relevant in the future and that he trusted the Traveler with his real name? Okay, so yes and no and no and yes. So I will probably go over this a little bit more in the video that I make on this later. But I don't think Aladdis is actually his real name. Here's the thing. Aladdis... It's not obvious in English. It's not obvious in English because Aladdis is another Romanized name, just like the rest of the Yaksha names. However, in Chinese, the difference between Jinping and, like, Fouché, which is Bosacius versus Xiao, is very different. So, Xiao's name, Jinping, is basically calling him Peng King, like King of the Pengs, and a peng is like it's kind of like a phoenix. It's the easiest way to describe it. It's calling him the king of the phoenix, which is referencing his animal form, his beast form, right? But all of the other yakshas' names are referencing Buddhist scriptures. None of them reference their animal name. So I'm kind of sitting here going, I don't even know that Aladdis is his official real name. I don't think we know his real name. I think Aladdis is just his beast name. I think he has another Buddhist name or similar that the master used. So I'm not entirely sure how to answer your question, other than I'm not entirely certain that Aladdis is his true name. I think he has another name because he doesn't fit the current patterns. So there's that. There is that. Do I have a theory regarding what happened to Istaroth? Listen, what happened to Istaroth is weird. And honestly, we don't even know that anything happened to her. Which is twice as weird, honestly. Like, Istaroth is the god of time, right? But if she's the god of time, that means that she could exist at any point in time. And it's even possible that she's in Khaenri'ah and floating along somewhere in space-time. Because the sustainer of heavenly principles is most certainly the god of space. Which means that somewhere there's a god of time, and if you merge them together, you would get the god of space-time, which would that be the god of everything? I'm not entirely sure. It just really depends on whether or not you think that the god of time is separate from something like, say, the Moon Sisters, right? Like, maybe there's the god of space-time and something else. And the three of them together made up the Moon Sisters. And if that's the case, then we don't know exactly which Moon Sister was which. What happened? Oh, okay.
Unsolicited, and all the more valuable for it.
Indeed, Zhongli. Well said. Definitely unsolicited. I didn't do that. I don't know what happened. I just turned around, something blew up, and I got money. If I'm skipping questions, it's because I wasn't mentioned in them, and so they don't get highlighted, and so I don't see the actual question. So make sure that if you do have a question that you intend for me to answer, particularly on stream, that you make sure to mention me so that I can see it, because the YouTube thing will highlight the path if you do that. It's important. Give me meat. Nah, weasel meat. Ash Greninja, do you think the Yakshas can beat the Harbingers? I mean, no, they're dead. That'd be, I mean, like, they're dead and gone, man. They're dead and gone. I think... I don't like discussing power levels in games. I think it's not very productive. Mostly because at the end you could always just say, well, which side is so-and-so on? Are they on the side of the hero, or are they on the side of, like, something else? And if they're on the side of something else, then, well, you could always argue that the power of friendship is going to change everything, right? And I feel like that's such a cop-out, and I don't like to talk about that for that reason. When I say it's a cop-out, I don't mean, like, it's not a valid argument. I just mean, like, it's a hard argument to argue against. It's, like, almost impossible. So I just don't like to do it. Look at all these little shroomy dudes. Hi, little shroomy dudes. You're really cute and I love you, but I have to kill you now because I want to collect powder for someone that I don't know will even need it. This has to be used for something eventually, right? No! Don't you charge me, Mr. Pig. Hey.
Out of my way.
Ha ha.
Boring.
Num 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 num. Delicious water meat. Why don't they drop water steaks? That would have been cool. Dead. Okay, cool. Okay, this is funny going back in chat. All of a sudden people are going, wait, what? You write books? Yeah, I wrote some books. No, I'm not going to tell you what comics I worked on because I'm incredibly embarrassed about the level of quality of the artwork, and I'm that person. It's also not really important to know about the comic books so much because I'm gonna be putting those comic books into game format. That's the game that I want to work on at some point, that I have the demo done for, and I might share some screenshots of the stuff that I've done for it. I've done all the graphics for that game so far, and I'm pretty happy with them. But that's what I want to do. So I'm not too fussed about sharing those comics because only 3 books were made, and I got like a very short, only a very small ways into the plot. I'll put it that way. So even if you read it, you're going to be left on a horrific cliffhanger, and no one deserves that. And I'm going to be making it into a game anyway, so maybe just play my game. Unapologetically, just play my game. Yeah. Okay, well, anyway. All right, first off, like, I see the "you're so talented" comments. Listen, guys, I have to tell you something. My one talent is being decent at everything, but being really good at absolutely nothing. It's a weird place to be. So I don't know that I would call myself talented. I just have the ability to get to a certain level of proficiency with a lot of things, but I have a very difficult time ever going beyond that. Which is why I'm not trying to make it as a full-time artist, and that's why I'm trying not to make it as a full-time writer or anything like that. That's why I'm not doing any of those things. I do best in stuff where I have to do a lot of little unrelated things. And none of them particularly well. Golfy422. Honkai lore is really big. Do you think you can balance that in Genshin? Honkai lore actually isn't that bad. Honkai lore is actually pretty simple. I've been keeping up with it for quite a while. I don't make videos on it because I don't play Honkai anymore. But I do watch people's playthroughs. I do participate in discussions about the current events. And I am planning on playing Star Rail. So that's a thing. But it's really not that bad. And they're all kind of connected anyway. So it's kind of, you know, 2 birds, 1 stone sort of thing. Where am I going? I'm just wandering. Let's go somewhere else. I'm gonna, yeah. I saw a thing saying I could take my dog in for grooming. Listen, I called the groomer today, and they are booking out for August and September right now. August and September. It is June. So, unless I can find another groomer, I cannot take him for grooming. That's a real thing. Where are all the rocks? I want rocks. Can I have some rocks, please? Lots of rocks. Lots of rocks, lots of rocks. Fill my pockets with the rocks. Paimon. Paimon. Sorry. Have you seen the Zenless Zone Zero trailer? It's a new MiHoYo game. Yes, I have. I have mixed feelings on it. For one, I think it looks really cool. I think the characters are really cool. I love that they're going a bit more diverse in terms of like body shapes and stuff like that, because it just makes for such a cool range of the cast. What I'm a little more concerned about is that it's a roguelike. I'm not too fond of roguelikes personally. I have been over here. What am I doing? Let's go this way. I'm not particularly fond of roguelikes, just in general. Like, they're just not my thing. They're not bad, they're just not my thing. So I don't know that I really want to play it, but I like the premise, and I also like that it appears like... It seems like Zenless Zone Zero is going to have its own lore. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't seem like it's going to be connected to Honkai or anything. I think that's quite refreshing. I don't want to stay over here. I want to go somewhere else. I'm going to go over here. There we go. Let's go here. And then jump. Whee! Okay. Rocks! There are my rocks! Hello, precious rocks. We're gonna go visit the sheesh room, too. Yeah, so that's basically it. I like the aesthetic. I love the music. The music's great. I don't have an opinion on the combat system. I think the world building looks interesting. I'm curious to see if it has any connection to Honkai, because it doesn't seem like it does, which I think is a bold move from MiHoYo. And I'm pretty happy to see that. So I'd love to see them branch out as a bit more of a diverse developer. Or, yeah, a more diverse developer. I'd love to see that. Other than that, I don't really have any opinions on it. It's a little too early for me to have anything to say, I guess. Hello, dude. Hello, my dude. Do I need my burst? No. Am I gonna do it anyway? Yes. Why not? Num 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 num. Num 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 num. All the good foods. Num 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 num. Gabriel, are you planning on doing a new Sumeru speculation video before 3.0? Yes. Yes, I am. On my channel on the community tab, my latest post actually has my upcoming video schedule. For the videos that I'm planning on producing between now and the foreseeable future. I just have this sinking suspicion that 2.8 is gonna actually have like more lore bombs. I just have that feeling. So it's a little subject to change. I don't know where on the list the Sumeru video is, but it's coming. I have a lot of stuff to add. But my current Sumeru speculations video that is out and has been out for quite a while, that one is still accurate. I don't think there's anything in there that I disagree with. I'd have to go back and check, but I'm pretty sure everything in there is still what I think's happening. Nothing's changed. I just have more things to add. And that'll happen. I got shot while scrolling. Let me scroll in peace. Mean little things. Rider Hope 7, based on something you said earlier, do you think it's possible that the place we were stuck in for the quest could have been Susty's cube, like a discarded one? Oh, I'm not sure. I mean, I guess it's possible. I mean, she has to dispose of her cube somewhere, I guess. Maybe that's where they go. Who knows?
I will have order.
I think I'm still of the opinion that the space we're in is literally the Abyss, and that the Abyss is just a chaotic space. If Susty's cubes end up being the Abyss, that would be kind of wild. realistically, I think it's a fun idea to entertain. Realistically, I don't know how much I buy into the idea. Yet. Yet. That's always the operative word, is yet. No Aponia questions. I already said I hate the Aponia questions. And no, she's not KK. I'm telling you, KK is Kevin. I know none of you believe me. But I'm telling you. None of them. No one believes me, but it's Kevin, I'm telling yous. Now I run away. Goodbye. Goodbye, cruel world. I want glider wings. These seem fun. Whee! That's a long way down. I am in the place where the narrow things glow. What are narrow things that can glow? Henoji, can I please share the titles of the comics and books I read? No, I'm not going to, because like I said, I'm going to turn them into a game anyway. It's just one of those things that, like, I don't like sharing my old work. and the other reason is the writing I have less trouble sharing because I'm far more confident in my writing than I was in my comic art skills. But the one thing that makes me hesitate when it comes to sharing those kinds of things beyond just like the cringe factor of looking at my own artwork again, is the fact that it uses my real name. And I'm not sharing that. So if I tell you the name of the books, you're going to know my real name. And I will not be enslaved like Shao. You will not catch me. I shall remain an enigma forever and ever. I will forever be a faceless voice in the void. Hi, Shishroom. I love you. I love this mushroom. It's my friend. I love them. Mwah. Mwah. I actually do think that this mushroom has something to do with Baizu, though. But that is for the Sumeru speculation video. I will say nothing more on that subject. Have a free teaser. And now mulled about it for a month before I get to the actual theory. Yeah, that was mean. I'm sorry. That was mean. That was mean. That was mean. Alright. I'm done in the chasm. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be here anymore. Vernick, what do you think Kaya's role will be in the future? Prince of Khaenri'ah. I do subscribe to that theory. I think it's quite accurate. I think Kaya will play a rather important role. I'm not entirely sure about the specifics. Like, I don't know exactly what role I think is more plausible than the other. Hello, you. Oh, wait. Geo damage doesn't hurt you guys. This might take a while. Where'd he go? Is he dead? Did I kill one? Or is he just, like, behind me again? No, he's just behind me. You little bastard. I don't like these things. Hi. Hi. Really? That didn't... Okay. I like the Primordial Jade Wing Spear, I really do, but sometimes I just like the Calamity Queller better. I got distracted. What were we doing? What were we doing? Oh, Kaya! Kaya! Right, yeah, Kaya, my boy! Him. I think Kaya's gonna be how we get to Khaenri'ah. I think Kaya's gonna have a whole arc with Dainsleif, and I think Kaya might be I think Kaya's gonna have a lot to do with Dainsleif, and I feel like Dainsleif actually isn't really our friend. I know he feels like a pretty neutral party, but like the more time passes, the more I really do think that Dainsleif might actually be the first of the Fatui Harbingers. And it's weird because I've never been the biggest fan of that theory, but like the more time passes, the more and more logical it seems to me. And the more I'm like, you know what? I think that might actually happen. And I think that in order to get the Fatui on our side, or at least to get Dainsleif on our side, we're gonna need Kaya. Because I think Kaya is going to be able to deliver something that Dainsleif wants. Like, I think Kaya has the ability to, I don't want to say resurrect Khaenri'ah, but I think he has a way to anchor it to a certain point in time so that we can get to it in order to do things to it. But I do think he's particularly important. I also think that Kaya will play a role in helping us break the Abyssal curse that's on the Hilichurls. I think that'll be a real thing. I think he's... I don't want to liken him to, like, a vaccine, but, like, that's a pretty good metaphor, you know? Being able to take something that Kaya has and share it with some people who are quote-unquote sick, like the Hilichurls, like with their curse, right? And have them not be sick anymore, or at least have them be able to slowly recover. I think that's probably going to be a thing. So yeah, I will also note Kaya's splash art in-game is different from his profile art. Like, you know, the name card thing when they do the teasers and they do the drip marketing for the next characters. Kaya's quote-unquote drip marketing card is very different from his splash art. His splash art shows him using his elemental burst. But his drip marketing card shows him sitting on an invisible chair, and if he's not sitting on an actual throne in the full artwork, I don't know what he's doing. I'm just pretty sure that that's what he's doing. I'm pretty sure he's sitting on a throne. I also think Kaya's going to be an antagonist for a short period of time. I think that'll happen. Anyway. Xingmang, would you consider doing videos on why Genshin has good world? I'm going to assume the rest of that sentence is building. Oh, yes, there it is. It's right down there. Yes. I do. There is one video I want to do on that, actually. I don't know if I'll do, like, a whole lot of them. But I do want to talk about Genshin's use of environmental storytelling. And why a lot of the world building is good, but some of the execution is bad and things like that. I do want to talk about that. But again, it's pretty far down my list, so it's probably going to be one of those videos that I do during a dead patch. So I don't know when that'll happen. Come down here. Well, this is just not fair. Mean. Leave me alone. Hi. Hi. I whack you with a tiny stick.
Worthless.
Come back here, smack, smack, smack. Pooh! But yeah, I do want to do one or two of those, but one in particular. Mars, speaking of Barbara, why does she have onks on her instead of crosses? I mean, onks are a symbol of life. Crosses are technically a symbol of death. I guess onks are technically also symbols of death, though. It just depends on the context. I guess crosses could also be a symbol of life. In some ways. Did you just heal yourself, you little bastard?
Order guide you. Solidify.
Hi. You did! That's not cool. Mean. I don't think onks and crosses are too far removed from each other in terms of a lot of their meanings. So it's like, if I really sit and think about it, yeah, they both do kind of deal with both life and death in their own ways, and their own mythologies and religions. Shouldn't call them all mythologies, but there's not a good word to describe something that has both mythological and religious applications. So there's that. Raymats, what do you think about Amber's grandfather being missing in lore? We're probably gonna go find him in Sumeru. That's what I think. I think Amber and Lisa will become relevant in Sumeru. I think we've got a while before Kaya becomes relevant. But I feel like Kaya's gonna be relevant in like one of those really random Dainsleif style side quests. I really do. Whereas I think Amber and Lisa will come up during like the main story. But when we get to Sumeru, that's, yeah. I'll be shocked if they don't include them. I, like, legitimately shocked. Rose, do you believe in Ningguang is Guizhong reincarnation theory? No, I don't. The reason is I feel like it kind of undermines a lot of Liu's story if Ningguang is Guizhong. On the one hand, you could argue that Guizhong becoming a human is like the one thing that she always wanted, but at the same time, she's not living a normal life. She's living a rather extraordinary mortal life, and she's still leading the people as if she was a god. And she is almost worshipped like a god. In a lot of ways. Because she's kind of the epitome of what Liu's ideals are, you know? So I would prefer it to not be true. What I will say though is I do 100% believe that Ningguang inherited some things from Guizhong. I do think she inherited Guizhong's dreams or will, right? Because I do think she's carrying out all the things Guizhong wanted. I just don't think she's Guizhong herself. I don't wanna go to work. I just wanna play all day. I just wanna play all day. I like my job actually. All play and no work makes for a very unbalanced lifestyle. Yum. Golfy 422. Will you be able to balance Honkai lore and Genshin lore well? I don't want your brain to be fried when Star Rail comes out. Yeah, that's the challenge. That's actually why I was hesitating on actually like trying to decide whether or not I wanted to do it. I'm gonna go to some islands I never go to. Just because I never go to these islands, so I kind of like want to go over here. It's part of why I wanted to like not do it. What I think I'll do, though, is I think for Star Rail, I might do more lore videos and less theory videos. I think Genshin is more conducive to theories than both Honkai and Star Rail. That's my own opinion, and it might just have to do with the fact that, like, I have a very particular brand of theories that I like to do. And I don't know that the current format for Honkai and Star Rail really suit that very well. So I think if it's just lore videos, it'll be a lot easier. And I am working right now on getting an editor. I had 10 people apply. But I'm still kind of sorting that out. And I went ahead and wrote a whole theory on the Harbingers again. One that I'm actually confident on this time, though. Because I wanted to kind of use it as like a test run.
Stabilize.
To see if I could offload some of the annoying work. Because there's some parts of video making that's just kind of annoying. Because like once I've written the script and I've collected all the footage and everything, it's just, it almost feels like busy work to put it together. And if I'm able to kind of offload that, that would be excellent. So I'm experimenting with that right now. And if that ends up working out, then I think it'll be a lot easier to juggle the lore for 2 games. Come down here. I am not switching off of Xiao, even though I know I should have a ranged unit when I fight. Leave me alone. I guess I could just take Diona, but that's kind of silly. But yeah, that's, oh my god, there's so many questions. Guys, like, jeez. I'm gonna be wrapping up this stream shortly. There was a lot of questions. We did not get to Yelan's story quest, and I still have to spend my resin for the day, and I don't know what I'm spending it on. I guess I could just spend it on, I don't know. I guess we'll go artifact hunting for Xiao again. I'm still trying to get decent Vermilion sets. You told you right. What kind of setting do you prefer? Medieval fantasy like Genshin or something else entirely? I have one story that's a Genshin-like story, and I have another one that's a modern ghost story, more in the Shin Megami Tensei variety. I like medieval fantasy for the most part. I like a mix of tech and fantasy. I especially like high-tech fantasy. Like, I like it if you take high fantasy with, you know, like elves and magic and shit and then put them in space. I think that's fun. That's one of my favorites to do. When do I think Sumeru will be released? In about 18 weeks. About 2-3 months. 3, 4, 8, 16. Yeah, about 3 months, a little over. Oh, right. We were going to talk a little bit about Yelan. Yeah, okay, so question here is, what do I think about Yelan being a Harbinger? I do not think she's a Harbinger, because why would she fight one of the Harbingers if she is a Harbinger? It seems a bit weird, because the Harbinger she fought is basically like the guy that makes all of the money. So I 100% do not think she is a Harbinger. However, here's something interesting. Actually, let's go in here for a second. I want to show you something. I should be able to... Oh, there she is. She's like right here. You see this coat? So, I'm going to paraphrase this a bit. 2 things. One, she has a little heart on the top of her hood there. And she has that symbol repeated all over the place. That symbol is also found on Klee, which is not a secret, but There's something else about this jacket that Klee has. So, Yelan's jacket came about because she was doing, I think she was doing a raid on the Fatui, and she ended up losing one of her bracelets, because she used to have 2 glowing bracelets, right? 2 of these. And she lost one, and so as compensation for it, she stole the pelt of a very rare abyssal creature. Okay? I want you to look at this fur really quick. And note that there's like 2 little almost ears on either side of Yelan's head there because of where the spike of the fur comes up. And then there's obviously a tail. You with me so far? Now remember, abyssal creature. What is that? Is it at all possible that Yelan has made a coat out of a Dodoko? Because her coat has all of the pieces of a Dodoko. Which has some weird implications. And that's the thing I wanted to share about Yelan. I'm running away now. Bye. Yeah. That's a thing. Anyway. Will I dig deeper into the Moon Sisters? I mean, maybe. The thing is everything we have to go on is all based on legends, and right now I'm trying to put together a timeline of events. Not necessarily like the actual literal timing of things, but just a timeline of events, like the order in which they happened. And it's really hard because all the stuff we have about the Moon Sisters is just legends, and they're all kind of contradictory. So it's a little difficult to make good claims about them right now. So if I do talk about them, it won't be for a while. I don't think the Chasm lore revealed that Zhongli lived with them. I don't remember that, but I do know that there's a popular theory about Zhongli being involved with the solar chariot that fell in the chasm, but I don't know that any of that has ever been verified. Most of it, as far as I know, is all just legends in game. And you have to remember that every legend in the game, while some of it is based on truth, like, it's all legend. It's like a game of telephone through time. It's told through unreliable narrators, and we don't know which pieces are real and which ones aren't. So I'm not willing to put Zhongli at the scene there yet. I don't think that. What do I dislike about the theory about Baizu presumably being the Dendro Archon? I've heard it around and I haven't thought about it much. I hate everything about it. It makes no sense to me, and that's basically what it boils down to. Like, I can sit here and give you like a blow by blow on like every single little thing that I dislike about it, but like, also why? You know? Ultimately, it's like, I get people really like Baizu and they want him to be important, but I feel like it's not important for him to be an Archon. I think it's weird that an Archon for one nation is just like chilling in another nation and has been for 500 years. I think that's super weird. I also think it's weird that Baizu would be the Dendro Archon in a region that's most definitely based on Persia, but have all of his out-of-game inspirations based on actual Chinese mythologies. Like, basically everything about Baizu is based off of something that's very, very Chinese. It just seems really weird to have something with such heavy Chinese inspiration be the god of a Persian nation. But maybe I'm being too close-minded on that. I don't know. But I'm 100% certain he is not the Dendro Archon. Like, I am that certain, and that's why I don't really like the theory. It's too easy to disprove. Um, 4364. What do you think about Rhine being susty? She has 4 of the same colors of the magnum opus, and her cubes have the alchemical motifs. And they're the same appearance as Durin. I don't understand the reasoning there, apart from the color theory. That one I get, but I don't think they could be the same person because we met Susty before. Before the... But, okay, so... Rhine-daughter made Albedo a period of time after Khaenri'ah was destroyed, right? So, that would mean that Susty is, like, randomly wandering around the Earth, and that also Susty caused the Cataclysm? Which I think would be kind of weird. I'm not really on board with the theory. I don't know how you would justify it, honestly. Like, I feel like it's, I feel like it's not got a very strong foundation.
Feel this ancient power.
Fighting and reading at the same time is hard. Do I think it's one person that he was mentioned in the lore or related events quest? Wait, who's he? Wait, who is he? Any thoughts on why only now a male catalyst is popping up? I don't know, because he'll sell probably. I don't think there's any particular reason for it. I think, it's just easier to sell female catalysts than it is to sell male catalysts. Yep. Yeah, that's it. That's all I think. I think it's just easier to sell female catalysts than male catalysts. I also think that they were struggling for a while with trying to come up with male spellcasters. But we also just don't have that many male characters to begin with, right? Like, the ratio of male to female is like 1 male for every 3 females, I think. It's pretty bad. So, I mean, just statistically, we're going to have more females of everything than, you know? And we just don't have that many catalysts in the game. Carbonated Quartz, how do you feel about people loosely connecting Zhongli to Fuhua instead of Welt Yang? I don't see why they can't be both, honestly. I don't think that, like, I don't think that any one character in Genshin is supposed to be a one-to-one perfect representation of any other character in any other MiHoYo game. Like, can I, like, move, please? Oh my god. What is happening? I think Xiao died.
Faster?
That was funny. Oh, I hate being frozen. Listen, you. Dude, guys, revenge for my son! What's going on here? Oh. You're the reason!
Useless.
That was annoying. Sorry. That was also kind of funny, though. I don't think there's supposed to be, like, any one character. I think it's fine if they all have multiple inspirations, and actually, I think it's better that they do. Like, I don't think Raiden A is actually Raiden Mei 1-to-1. I think she's got a lot of inspiration from both Raiden Mei and also from Dr. Mei. In fact, she might even have more of Dr. Mei than Raiden A in a lot of ways. And I don't think that's a bad thing. So I don't have any problem with Zhongli being both Fuhua and Welt Yang. I think that's totally valid. Oh, Sasha, do you think it's on purpose that Kaya wasn't mentioned in any lore-related events or quests? He actually has been. He was mentioned in the Chasm. He was supposed to be accompanying Klee, who's supposed to be a demolitions expert, and he suspiciously was not there when Dainsliff showed up. So yeah, I do think it's on purpose. I think we will get an event that focuses on Kaya at some point, but I feel like anything to do with Kaya gives us too much information, and we're not really at the point in the game where we can have it yet. Have I gone, like, around this island a couple of times already? I might have. Yeah, I've gone around this island a couple of times. Where have I not really gone a whole lot? Let's go over here. Padel, do you think Paimon is the same as Venti in the sense that he only shows up to protect Mondstadt while Paimon is the one to guide us through the story? Her flipping fantastic compass is sus. I don't understand the question. That compass isn't Paimon's. I don't understand the question. I'm sorry. I don't know if I can answer it. I don't want to give you an answer that's not what you actually asked. Marisol Balboa. So who has better lore, Xiao or Albedo? I think Xiao has the more tragic lore. I think Albedo has interesting lore as well. We haven't seen enough of Albedo's history yet. And I think Albedo in general is going to have less lore than Xiao. Ultimately, lore is things that have happened, right? But Albedo hasn't really had a whole lot of things happen to him yet, right? Albedo needs to actually go through some things, and I think Albedo will have some more interesting development throughout the story, but I think Xiao will have the more interesting lore from like history.
Solidified.
I just think Xiao's lore is really tragic, and if I'm right about him still having something to do with Sumeru, then he'll be even more interesting. I still think that. Who do I think will come up first, a Cryocadulus or a Hydro Claymore? Hydro Claymore. No reason for it, just, yeah. Nelkaz, Yanfei of the English dub, what is your wisdom? Do you think we'll ever see the Dark Sea or the ruins of Khaenri'ah? Yes, we're gonna go to Khaenri'ah for sure. And technically, we've already been to the Dark Sea. Like, technically, Enkanomiya is the Dark Sea. And Golden Apple Archipelago is also considered the Dark Sea. So we've been there already. And we will 100% go to Khaenri'ah. There's no doubt about it. It's the final region. And we're going to go there before then, too. I'm pretty damn sure. King Alice, what kind of abyss enemies do you think we could have? I don't know if you're talking about, like, abyssal enemies, like the Rift Wolves, or if you're talking about, like, enemies in the Spiral Abyss. Two different things. I'm not quite sure which one you mean. Sherpa, what if Susty contains her cubes within a cube, then she has nesting cubes? Which would be weird. Lilac, do you look for leaks or do you try to avoid them? I have a slightly complex relationship with leaks. I used to actively avoid leaks, solely because the leaks used to contain story spoilers. Prior to, I think it was 1.5 was the last time that we actually got real story spoilers. And then after that, for an unknown reason, most of the leaking community decided that they no longer wanted to leak the actual story. besides like really incredibly vague things like, oh, X character is important, or X character is featured here, or, you know, like things like that. Because they decided to do that, I no longer actively avoid leaks, because the enjoyment that I get out of Genshin has to do with the story, right? And if the story is not getting spoiled for me through leaks, then I have no real reason to avoid them, because most of what's in the leaks is just like the next character that's coming and more details about their kit and like little things like that, and maybe you'll get like some screenshots of new areas. But generally speaking, it doesn't contain any worthwhile information from any real reliable source, you know? So I don't actively avoid them anymore for that reason. I don't think there's any harm in learning about a character's kit a little bit early, so long as you don't base all of your expectations for that character around what's going on for them in the beta. You know what I mean? I think that's important. But yeah, I don't avoid them. There's no point. You're gonna get spoiled on stuff anyway. Even if I did go out of my way to like really try to avoid leaks, like someone on Twitter is gonna DM me something and be like, "Did you see this?" And it's gonna be a leak, and I'll be like, "Really?" So I can't avoid them anyway. So why not spoil myself before somebody else spoils me? Oh, I didn't need that. Oh well. Ashen Demon, do you think we'll see more forms of Oceanid? Oh yeah, by Fontaine, yeah, for sure. I think we'll have a lot of those incredibly annoying enemies. RDC 621, do you think Paimon is Genshin's Kiana, or maybe the Four Shades are all different versions of Kiana? I have wondered that. Although I have some different ideas about what the Four Shades are. And I don't think they're all Kiana. But it's contingent on a few. That's contingent on a few things. If they're not all shades of Kiana, then I think that the shades are not the Moon Sisters. But if they are all shades of Kiana, then I think they are the Moon Sisters. So I go back and forth on it. I do think Paimon is supposed to be Genshin's version of Kiana to an extent, though. But it's complicated. Kiana's got the whole, like, millions of clone things going on, and every time Paimon goes, oh, is it another Paimon? I'm just like, yeah, clone number 423. Yep. Sakasho, please elaborate on why KK is Kevin Kaslana. Okay, because I think this because we know that KK has the Honkai Beast Brahma, right? And I know that Kevin does not currently have Brahma. However, Kevin has had also a secret surgery, a secret mantis surgery, that I think would make him perfectly reasonable for him to have gotten Brahma at that point. And the second reason is because KK was Kevin in Gun Girls, or Gun Girl Z, which was the version of Honkai before Honkai was Honkai. So I think that's a perfectly reasonable explanation. The only other candidate, in my opinion, is Alicia. And I'm not convinced that she's Brahma, although she does have quite a few traits that could be linked to Brahma. But I still think it's Kevin. I think sometimes the obvious answer is the correct answer. And sometimes I think the obvious answer is the one that is the most clever. Because people will be like, well, that's the obvious answer, so it can't be it, you know? And then everyone's like, oh my god, it actually was it. I think it would make for a really good twist, so. Just because I don't think anyone else is going to be expecting it, because I think a lot of people will think it's too obvious, because obviously he's got KK as his initials, so of course he'd be KK. A lot of people are calling it, like, KK is actually Kevin Killer. Because of a bad English translation, but I don't think that's accurate either. But yeah. Oh my god, guys, we've been streaming for a while, and I am like so far behind on questions. I think I'm gonna do like 3 or 4 more, and then we're gonna call it a night. Because there's just a lot.
But where are those who share the memory?
So I'm sorry if I missed your question. We'll hopefully do another one of these fairly soon. So maybe we can cover it then. But I'd like to just, you know, yeah. Yeah. Also, my voice is starting to go. I've been talking for a long time. So let's say 6 more questions, then I'm gonna call it good. Okay. Okay. We good with that? Are we good with that? I gotta go spend my resin. Let's go spend my resin. Let's go to this domain over here that hates me. Gianna Joe, why do some of the Genshin characters have snake-like slits? I mean, some of them do, some of them don't. I think the only 2 that actually do are... Well, there's 3, right? No, there's just 2. It's just Chongyun and Shinobu right now, I think, have the slits. I don't think there's any particular reason for it. Xiao doesn't have slits, contrary to popular belief. He has diamonds instead. It's pretty easy to, you know. I don't think there's a particular reason for it. Guinevere Rose, do you think there will ever be a healer traveler? That's a good question. Will there ever be a healer traveler? That'd be interesting. How mad would wouldn't be if it ended up being that the healer traveler was a Hydro character? That would be pretty funny. I'm thinking. I don't think it would be Pyro. It would have to be Dendro or Hydro if it's gonna be one. I think it's got... I think there's more of a chance of it being Dendro than Hydro, but even then, I feel like Dendro is such a reaction-enabling element that it seems unlikely. I guess I'm gonna have to say probably not, unless the healing is, like, really minimal, like Xingqiu style. I could see that. I don't think that we'll end up with a traveler that could potentially be, like... Can you not climb your own pillar, please? Style points! Style points! Woo! Is he all the way over here? Hold still so I can punch you in the face. Henoji. Maybe that's a meta reason why they didn't want Klee to show up in the chasm. She'd see Yelan's go no, Dodoko. I mean, that would be pretty funny if it had nothing to do with Kaya and everything to do with Klee. I'm telling you, this domain friggin' hates me. Carolina Olavari. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce the last name there. Am I gonna do Yelan's quest today? I thought I might, but there ended up being so many questions from people that I ended up not doing it, and my voice is going, so I don't think I'll do it now. Also, because I have work tomorrow, which means I have to go to bed soon.
Order guide you.
I'm on Eastern Standard, so it's actually a lot later for me than some people. Wham, 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 wham. Wham, wham.
Life goes on.
Wham, 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 wham. How important do I think Hu Tao is for the lore? Probably not very. She's part of a family that's pretty important to Liyue's history, but like for the overall plot and purposes of the game, I don't think that she's particularly important. But I also don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Varharan, don't you think it's interesting that Rostam, who shares a name with an Iranian mythological hero, is from Mondstadt, and Ejdaha, the word for dragon in Persian, is from Liwa? I mean, Vishops is the Armenian word for dragon. They like to mix a lot of influences. So I'm not particularly surprised. It is interesting, though. I do think the Persian influences are more important than we give them credit for. I'm not sure why yet. I just have a feeling. Air, I wanted to ask, what do you think about Mona and her importance to the plot and the lore? I do think Mona will have relevance. Let me just say that I personally think that every Mondstadt character has some serious potential lore relevance, and I cannot say the same for most characters from other regions. But I think out of the Mondstadt characters, like, the one that has the least amount of lore relevance is Diona and Eula. The rest of them are, like, incredibly likely to have some significant lore relevance in the near future. But I do think Mona will matter quite a bit. I am not going to answer that question because it involves an actual leak. So, yep, not that one. Paravu, do you think there will be an actual canon Honkai and Genshin crossover, like exploring the multiverse? It's called Star Rail. It sounds like a sarcastic answer, but it is my opinion. It is my opinion. Waka Waka, not a question, but Pantalone is from Liwa. The KFC Wings lore states that. Do they? I don't have them. I do not have them. I cannot read them. I don't have them. I have to go on the wiki. I thought the KFC wing lore was mostly just about Alice talking to Klee about dinosaurs. Where's the mention of Pantalone? Are you sure it's KFC wings?
This is order.
Because I have recently read the Harbinger page and I didn't see that mentioned there either. That feels like something that would be somewhat significant. I'll check before we end stream. Let me do one more run here, and then I'll check. I was pretty sure that whole thing was just about. See, this domain friggin' hates me. Diona has connections to the spirits and fairies, while Eula has the Lawrence clan, who are closely tied to the formation of Mondstadt. Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying, is like, those two have the least amount of lore relevance, and even then, they're still pretty relevant.
I will have order.
Come into being. Witness my great undertaking.
I feel like that's kind of significant.
Evil conquering.
I can't say the same for most other characters from other regions. Snick snack, gotta wick back. Come back here, you stupid zip zappy machinery. Chi-Chi, are you lucky? Are you a lucky zombie? No, not a lucky zombie. Not a lucky zombie. Why do I think Mondstadt is more closely related to Khaenri'ah than other regions? Because Mondstadt's ideal is freedom. And essentially that's what Khaenri'ah was. Their ideal was also freedom. They wanted to be free of gods and that kind of stuff. So like I feel like that's where a lot of it comes from. Yep. Another day, another lack of artifacts. God, I hate this. I can't even use it. Ugh. Ugh. Gross. No, I don't need artifact EXP. I don't care about the thing. I don't. Did I forget about Liyue? Did I forget about Liyue with what? I can't say the same about other regions. I'm including Liyue in that. The only people I can think of in Liyue who actually have like real lore relevance that would extend to the greater plot of the entire game is legitimately Xingqiu. For reasons. Okay, but before I go, I'm just gonna pop open a browser here. And I'm gonna go to the Genshin wiki and look up the thingies.
1, 2,
Give me a second.
3, 4, and
My speed dial took forever to load. What's the point of that? Hang on, I'm looking up the KFC glider because I do not remember this at all. I'm just seeing a lot of dragon drumsticks.
let's go somewhere cooler.
Okay, where's the Pantalone thing in here? There's nothing on Pantalone in here. Are you guys sure it's the KFC glider? I will read you guys this. It's okay, guys. It's definitely not the KFC glider. It is not on here.
1, 2,
It is not on here.
4, 2, 2, 3, 4.
I will look at the Liyue glider. Gaze up at the blah 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 blah. This is the martial artists. Sing. Great hero came upon the winds of the east. Official insignia of the Geo Lord. Blah blah blah. Talking about the Che. Talking about evil monster at Guyun. Oh, here we go. Okay, I know what you're talking about now. Okay. So the line in question here is, and let us not forget the young, arrogant Fatui lord who openly opposed the Lord of Geo and disparaged the Qixing. Our hero crashed one of his banquets, kicked the fruit bowl, and smacked the living daylights out of the snooty young lord. After having some sense beat into him, the lord confessed his mistakes, respectfully bowed to the Lord of Geo and the Qixing, and promptly left the feast.
4,
It does not say that he is from Liyue, though.
3, 4.
But I can't remember if that is Pantalone or Pulcinella. I want to say it's Pulcinella. Yeah, it's Puccinella, not Pantalone. I'm like 90% sure, but I will check Pantalone anyway. Regrader is like, you know how Ajax, right? So has two other names. It's like Ajax, Child, and then Tartaglia. Tartaglia is the Commedia dell'arte name, and then Child is his code name. So in this game, Pantalone is the Commedia name, and then Regrader is his code name. So he has one more name beyond that.
1, 2, 3.
It's kind of like Scaramouche and the Balladeer and Kunikazushi, right? Da, 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 da. Yeah, Pantalone was doing stuff in Mondstadt. Yeah, he's not from Liyue, guys. He's not from Liyue.
2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, he's legit not from Liyue. The thing that we're referring to is I'll read you this from the wiki because this is the easiest way to explain it. But we're not talking about Pantalone. We're actually talking about Pulcinella. But basically, Pulcinella made an agreement with the Liyue Chising and dispatched the Ninth Company to the expedition in the chasm. So he was responsible for the Ninth Company down there. And then he had his agreement with the Chising went sour after Child did that whole thing with Osail and reviving him. And that's kind of soured the relationships between Pulcinella and the Liyue Chising. So that's basically all we know there, but he's not from Liyue, or at least it's not confirmed he's from Liyue, and it's not confirmed that Pantalone is from Liyue either. I think part of the reason why it's suspected that he might be from Liyue is because he was born really, really, really poor, and he wanted to amass a lot of wealth for himself. And that's kind of like Liyue's thing, you know.
What should I try this time?
Yep. Yep. Anyway, I just wanted to clarify that one because I was
Hey, do you know what?
pretty sure that that wasn't a thing.
Neither do I.
And I had to do it for my own sanity. I had to check it for my own sanity. We gotta make sure.
This realm.
So nice to have the teapot back in function. One thing I'd like to do at some point is have a teapot stream. Maybe I should have done that today instead of running around all over the place. I should have done that today. I wanna make a new teapot. And I would like to do that on stream. So that's something I want to do at some point. I bought a lot of stuff.
If you ever have.
Actually, I want to test something real quick because they've been doing maintenance on the teapot for forever, right? I want to see really quickly if we can still clip things. This is important. This is like super important. I want to see if we can clip things still. Let me just place something random down. Oh, I think I have some controls that are all funky. I am not sure what's going on with it. And then this. Okay. So here's what we do. Haha! I can still clip things. I can still clip things. Victory. Okay, we're good. That's fine. I'm fine with that. Listen, if I can still clip things, I am happy because, like, the teapot needs to have clipping by default. I'm so sick of the fact that it doesn't have clipping by default. It annoys the shit out of me. It annoys me so much. Yeah. We just need clipping by default, and I'm kind of sick of this village. This village is fine, but I've had it for forever, and I'm kind of bored with it. And it's not that pretty. So I want to do something else. The only spot I am proud of in my teapot is my little farm. My little farm. Yeah, they should just make the clipping glitch like a feature instead of a glitch. Like, just say, hey, we notice how popular this is. Let's make it a feature. Just let us do it. Yeah, like, this is the thing I'm most proud of, and it's not even that impressive. But this is my little farm. I got a fish farm over here in the corner. My little fish farm. Farming some fish. And I got plants and vines. Farming some rocks and some tomatoes. Or these grapes. I mean, they look like tomatoes to me. Kind of a weird way to grow tomatoes. I don't know. Like, they're growing down and not up. But, you know. Anyway, I think that's it for me today, guys. I know we said we were going to try and do Yelan's story quest. I might just do, like, a random surprise stream this week where I just do Yelan's story quest because it does need to get done at some point. So, we'll probably do that. We'll do, like, a non-Q&A thing. We'll actually just do her quest, so. Anyway, I just want to thank you guys all for showing up. I've got a couple theories in the oven. One on Harbingers. We will be ranking the Harbingers, actually putting the Harbingers to their proper number, and then also predicting their constellations. With some small mini theories about each Harbinger, which should be fun. That should be super fun. And then after that, we're doing Yakshas. Or maybe before that, we'll do Yakshas. Around the same time, we'll do Yakshas. And then after that, it's a bit of a free-for-all. We'll see what happens. All right, guys. Thanks so much. My throat hurts. I'm gonna go eat something like yummy. So thanks for coming. I'm gonna go. Oh, Levi didn't talk again. I was gonna have him talk. Oh, that's okay. He's sleeping.
The damned will sooner die again than lay a hand on me.
Shao. The damned will sooner die again than I will let anyone lay a hand on. Yeah, you get the idea. Must protect. He's a good boy. He's a good boy. Tragic backstory. Okay, I'm going. Bye.